platforms put up their assignments and say, hey, we need solutions for these challenges we have. And if there is anybody who has the right skill set to solve it, please give me a solution for it. And those are the organizations which are really kind of making a difference. So as much as Flexi organizations are looking at traditional models of recruiting and employment generation, they also need to think about the newer platforms they need to create to deal with this changed world, which is in and around us. The third point I want to make up here is that so far in the day, I've heard only about the social benefits of the workforce which works into this stream. The attention I want to draw for Flexi organizations to think about is centered around what's the kind of work being done in the country, and what are the laws which impact that work. So going back to an example of why federal work, or why the work which is kind of governed by regulations does not come to India. Because we do not have tighter norms of security, the cyber security, or the the information security, or for that matter, the data privacy, and how we should channel energies of our government to start think about some of those laws and say, hey, you have an opportunity to make a change for us to have higher set of jobs. So those are the 4 points which I want to share with you. One, change in the society, changes in the society with the attitude. Second is to do with looking at different sectors which are absolutely at the bottom of the pile, which is education industry, and having educators in the institutions to build the skills. Third is to center around investment in technology and the newer platforms of flex working. And fourth is centered around looking at laws beyond employment laws and more centered around work. So thanks a lot for this opportunity, and more as we talk through the session.
Yeah, thank you so much, Biplab.
Thanks. Hi, good afternoon. I'll try to share my perspective on the questions which I've heard around intellectual property, younger generation, and law in near future, how that will handle. And of course, Mr. Yadav, what you asked, that how organizations decide to go for Flexi. In fact, on that note, let me first thank you, Mr. Yadav, because for giving this opportunity. And when I look back, our association is almost 17 years back. That's the time when we used to do a lot of business with Mr. Yadav and got excellent services from him. And after that, there's a 17-year-old gap. And now he invites me, puts me on a dais, and then asks, tell me how organizations decide Flexi staffing. So I see a very different angle to that question. Anyway, so firstly, I think what I will do is identify just kind of 3 broad perspectives, which is in my mind, what happens in an organization, or what are the factors that perhaps helps or holds up a decision on Flexi. Number 1 is investment. I'll give you an example. The other day, somebody from the Times of India group had come and presented an initiative they had launched called P Inc. I'm sure many of you have heard about it. It's about providing career opportunities to for second career kind of stuff. And we started interviewing some of the people who have come from that forum. And the first question which was asked is, do you have a creche in your office? And while we have some kind of arrangement in our head office, we don't have such arrangements across the country. So without sounding repetitive on all the different aspects of the topic today, I guess one of the things which already being touched upon is how much an employer is willing to invest to get the benefit of Flexi staff. That is a big question. It is just not a short-term use and throw, and especially for multinationals and Indian organizations. I think the time has changed. We are looking at not only just the return on investment, but also investment per se. And therefore, that kind of, at times, make us think and start preparing to have the full benefit of this area. The second area, I feel, is the mindset of the management or the managers. And that is a slightly tricky area. But I have seen that with the changing demographics, our management who are in the middle layer or who are actually influencing this decision whether to go for flexi or not have a huge mindset issue. I'll give you another example. We are doing a global survey that how talent will look like in the year 2025 and how and what we need to do to prepare our managers to handle the talent at that point in time. What do we need to do now to prepare our managers? It's a global project, and one of the findings we have seen is, yes, there is a need to do a lot of employer branding, attract the new generation, understand them, but especially in sectors or industries who have been pretty stable or have been quite successful or have not felt the need to change so much compared to emerging sectors, the manager's mindset is very different. If it can be managed without changing something, why do it? And I think that reflects very subtly. Unless you dig deep, there are various other excuses which come to the fore, and therefore these decisions of flexi staffing are nipped at the bud. So in terms of management education, in terms of preparing the managers for future, I guess it's all not always possible for all the managers to come for this kind of enlightening forum or in other ways to understand how the society is changing. So once we go back to work, we face that kind of very different world where things have not changed much. And that mindset is very critical to change to prepare to get the full benefit of this kind of a initiative. If you look at the management education, I guess most of us studied 20, 30 years back, and the same thing is going on. For example, the same McClelland, McGregor, and Maslow's theory is still being taught, whereas the technology has gone much ahead. So I guess the managers, especially who are dealing with people, who are dealing with fixed or variable employees, need to be upgraded a lot more in terms of how they manage this new workforce. And there is a huge resistance in that area. And finally, I see there is an issue with the capability of the HR manager, who perhaps is the first point when a flexi staffing organization reach out to an organization. And an HR manager today is amidst of a massive transformation, and they are held responsible for almost everything. For example, in our organization, we are accountable for both UK and US Bribery Act. So coming to the point of how intellectual property and those things are protected, we have a standard practice that whether it's fixed employees or temporary employees, they have to be covered almost 35 different compliance laws, no matter how short or how long the tenure is. So the capability of HR managers in terms of dealing with diverse issues and then also look at flexi staffing may not be always a top priority. And in that area, I guess, Indian Staffing Organization and others can play a huge role in terms of leveraging social media and involving the middle level and the senior level HR organization also to make them aware what all is happening and how they can be prepared to handle all these things. I guess, there are a lot of other success stories to borrow from. The first example which comes to my mind is Bollywood. If you look at, there are different camps, the Khan camp or a Kapoor camp, but the artists, junior artists, senior artists, the different kinds of employees who work there are all on kind of flexi staffing. So I guess, if we share or look around and try to see what are some of the good things going around, along with your organization, I see there is a huge opportunity in terms of educating and overcoming this mindset of organization, and penetration perhaps will go up much more in the coming years. Thank you.
Alok.
Thank you very much. What I have now chosen is to stay very, very micro, because I think since morning we are having very macro things. So I'll share 2, 3 incidences which I have experienced, and we will see if we draw some learning. So in my duration with one of the organization where I was heading HR, came across a peculiar situation where I had to give unionized contract labor VRS to get the canteen supplies from outside. Now, contract labor is flexible as we perceive at least. Now, you have to remove the contract labor by giving VRS and get some food supplier to bring food to canteen. So that is one experience which I had. recently, one of the large engineering company in Gujarat gave 6,000 rupees per month salary increase to contract labor. And they have promised that every year, subject to all their test capability, performance, etc., they will make 50 people every year permanent and take them on board. What has forced this situation? I think this situation is very familiar to what a farmer in Punjab facing after the introduction of NREGA. Third experience, which I am seeing the whole quest for a contract labor or a flexi staff, is to move from uncertainty to certainty. And as an employer, we are using flexi staffing mainly today. Is not because of the very high degree of skill, because sophisticated skill sets are different, like welding in deep sea is a very sophisticated skill. But runner boy, office boy, or a sales representative. One question was recently asked about the courier company, how do they handle? And I will share with you one of the experience. One courier boy bought a pin, which is the pin for credit card, and he delivered my pin to my next door neighbor. And before the pin, it comes the credit card, he gave the credit card to some other person. Now, I was wondering, as a large bank, that if he would have given the credit card and pin to the same person, thankfully we trust our neighbors, but if he would have delivered the same person, and when I complained, 2 days later, this courier boy came crying and met my wife and said, my job is going and I have people who are depending on my earning. And then wife got panicked because 2 people, one is his supervisor and the boy came and crying at your place, and she called me up. Being in HR, you have advantage to get in touch with the HR people of the bank, because being in BFSI sector, I called him up and I said, boss, please stop this. He said, but you will have to go and take the customer complaint back to save his job. Now look, I have to take the customer complaint back. So what have we done? We have tried to outsource the customer experience and the financial risk. So are we ready to do that? And the whole temporary staffing, permanent staffing starts there. What is that we are willing to take risk with? And in this case, I'm not saying everybody should hire a courier boy permanent, but the point is, how do we track and how do we use technology to ensure that these kind of mistakes don't happen? And as far as the compliance is concerned, somebody asked me about the compliance and the law supporting. See, the Industrial Employment Standing Order Act gives us enough flexibility. Fixed term employment has been there for ages. Okay? You give a fixed term contract and there's no obligation for you to make them permanent. So that flexibility has been used through under the garb of retainership, under the garb of fixed term employment, contract employment. But the misuse has happened mainly when we have colluded with the contractors and used contract labor without giving them their right and dues on the shop floor to manufacture the final finished product, which will be delivered to the customer. If you are making soap, and if their chemical formula is right, probably customer may not have the better experience. But if you are making baby milk powder, then I don't know. And the next challenge which I am experiencing, that most of the teachers in many of the state governments are now on the Samvida Shikshak, contract teacher. And I'm sure most of you would have experienced. How many of us would be comfortable sending our kids to those schools? Because today we are living a life where we hardly use any government facility. We drop our kids by our private car. We get them in private school, private hospitals, medicines, whatever you call it, books, mobile, everything. Finally, you are hardly using the roads, and if you have to get a birth and death certificate to the government machinery. Now, these are some challenges we as a society are facing. And I have no answer to these things. I'm just trying to reflect about since the morning whatever discussions are happening. And in this environment, we have a mammoth task, and sometimes I really get overwhelmed with the data which is thrown at us. And we always try to see, is there a cause and effect relationship? We need flexibility, take flexi staff. We want cost reduction, take flexi staff.